What's the connection between these two films? Which happened first? Who did the apartment 7A belong to? What's the use of tennis route? What happened to Rosemary's Baby? Stay with me until the end. Terry Giuffrio is a dancer whose ankle gets twisted in the middle of a performance. She can't dance like before and keeps failing in different auditions. In one of the auditions, she sees Alan Marchett, one of the greats of Broadway. He asks, what is she willing to do to be on stage again? Terry says, anything. Terry follows Alan to Branford Building. She feels nauseous, and when she comes out, she runs into Minnie and Roman. They give her an apartment without any questions and expectations. Minnie invites her to a party with Alan, but in the end, Terry and Alan are the only members of the party. After the drink she drinks, she gets confused, numb, and hallucinates. When she wakes up in the morning, she doesn't remember exactly what's happened to her, but she'll know that everything is going to change. She gets annoyed from Miss Gardenia, which makes her ankle back to normal. The star of the show breaks her leg mysteriously and Terry takes her place. A problem ruins her happiness. She finds out that she's pregnant, but again Minnie shows her a way out. Minnie says if you keep the baby and give it to us, we'll help you become a star, your name will be on the billboards, and you will shine on the stage. Terry accepts this deal because she loves dancing, she loves being on the stage, and she loves fame. And of course, she had reached a dead end recently, and without their help, she couldn't stand on her own feet, let alone dance with them. This situation continues until she sees strange things, experiences different pains, finds the book of Mrs. Gardenia, the resident of apartment 7A, and finds out about what's happened to Joan, the previous resident of her apartment. A nun tells her that after the devil was summoned by Adrian Mercado, they were looking for a womb, and Joan was pregnant with the devil's child. She was killed in an accident. Terry wants an abortion, but it seems that the devil doesn't let it. Her attempts to destroy the child in her stomach has no result either. The only way left for her is to cooperate with the Satanists, the residents of Brentford, so that they trust her. For the last time, on the stage that was made for her, in front of Satan and his worshippers. She does what she likes the most. She dances freely. The last movement, the last act of this dance is a fall from darkness to light, which was only possible with Terry's death. The beginning of Rosemary's Baby is a little before apartment 7A's events. The events of apartment 7A start from 1965 and go until the end of the year. In late 1965, we witnessed the moving of the Woodhouses and meeting of Rosemary and Terry. Rosemary's Baby continues until early 1966. The realtor tells the Woodhouses that Mrs. Gardenia died a few days ago. They will be the next residents of apartment 7A. The opening music of Rosemary's Baby is similar to a kind of relief after the tragedy you've seen, if you've seen the apartment 7A first. It's both like a lullaby and a foreknowledge of what we're going to witness. The atmosphere creates with this music and the overhead shot, the heli shot that finally ends with the establishing shot of the Branford building, was the best way to start the movie. When Rosemary arrives in Brentford, she sees Terry while doing her laundry. Terry shows Rosemary her good luck charm and tells her what the cassavetes did for her. The movie Apartment 7A is Terry Giuffrio's complete backstory. The Woodhouses go out, and when they return to Brentford, we see the end of Apartment 7A. Terry committed suicide, and neighbors and the police gathered around her. Actually, a little bit earlier, before they go out, when they're hugging each other in the bedroom, They hear voices from the apartment next door. This is the beginning of the ceremony that was held for Tirginafrio in the end of the movie Apartment 7A, and before her suicide, her last dance. The Cassavetes arrive at Brentford later than others, so that there will be no doubt about their involvement in Terry's murder. Minnie constantly checks Rosemary's condition and asks her many questions about her life and having children. She is exploring the options for Terry's womb replacement. Kai, Rosemary's husband, is tired of constantly playing secondary roles, advertisements, or being rejected in the auditions. So when he finds out about Roman's influence on relationships in show business, he tries to get closer to him. In fact, this is a trap that Roman has set for Kai, and Kai, like Terry, falls in the trap hastily and thoughtlessly. At first, Minnie gives Terry's charm to Rosemary, and then Kai finds out that the main actor is blind and is going to take his place. A scenario similar to the previous story. The only difference is that Terry had made a deal with Cassavetes by risking her own life and womb, but Kai had traded Rosemary's life and womb for the main role and fame. This charm has tennis root. Tennis root is known as the Devil's Club because of its shape and its strange smell and bitter taste. Both deals are direct deals with the devil about negative and evil characteristics of humans, about ambitions, and about thirst of fame. Terry has a drink and Rosemary gets ready for the ceremony with a dessert. In my opinion, Apartment 7A is a poor copy of Rosemary's Baby in many ways. Just look at its dream scenes and the devil worshipper ceremony. Although it deals with the story of the girl, the previous victim, the fact is that it can't become independent from Rosemary's Baby movie and the book it's being adapted from. Mia Farrow is a much better actress than Julia Garner, and in terms of the script and the directing, there is no need for more explanation than what we can watch. And about dealing with women, after Bergman, Roman Polanski with Repulsion, Chinatown, Rosemary's Baby, and The Death and the Maiden is one of the most daring directors. If you just watch Apartment 7A, you might not notice this issue, but if you watch Rosemary's Baby after it, you will notice differences in terms of quality, imagination, better script, better directing, and better acting. And in the case of these two films, or films that are related, comparison is inevitable. Let's go back to the dream scene of the movie after dessert. You're in a boat. Hutch can't be taken because he's Jewish and others are Catholic, but the reality is that all of them are devil worshippers. When she sees the doorman, he tells her you have to go down. Here we can see that she's having this dream while she is in the elevator and being taken down. One of the craziest scenes that may have been seen in the history of cinema is the scene of seeing a father, a priest, during Rosemary's intercourse with Satan. Rosemary asks the priest, while she's commenting the scene, if she's forgiven or not. And the father says, oh, absolutely. Luis Buñuel and Roman Polanski often mock the priests and some Christian beliefs with the movie they made. Actually, they reminded people of contradictions with humor. Here, this idea of forgiveness in case of committing almost any sin is examined and ridiculed. One of the problems of Apartment 7A is that it wants to remind Satan in different ways and with different incidents in Brentford, like Strange Sisters or The Laundry Room. These scenes doesn't come out the way they should and they go away from the main story. We see Satan in many different forms, but none of them even come close to see Satan once in Rosemary's Baby. After spending the night with Satan, even though her husband is an actor, he can't look at Rosemary like before. And she notices the change in her husband's behavior. I think even before Rosemary herself, he can't face the reflection of his image in Rosemary's eyes after what he did to her. Kai is a very bad actor, and without this skill, he wouldn't have been able to progress. He informs Roman and Minnie about everything that happens. For this purpose, he goes out of the house under various pretexts, which is not acceptable and creates doubts. After Rosemary is sure that she's pregnant, a blood test is taken from her. But the doctor wants to repeat it again, because she has a blood type that doesn't belong to humans. Of course, the doctor doesn't worry her for no reason and without taking the test again. And this is where Minnie, Roman, and Kai enter and somehow force her to see Dr. Saperstein. It's really bitter and sad to see Rosemary so naively and innocently happy to have a baby and choosing a name for him. Because we know something is wrong and something bad is going to happen. This situation creates an expectation and suspense for us. We are waiting for something strange to happen to Rosemary compared to other pregnancies. Every day her skin is paler, her pain increases, and her weight decreases. Dr. Saperstein calms her down and tells her that no two pregnancies are the same. And Minnie gives her a potion. They're actually buying time for themselves and the child with these words and excuses. The cassavetes even check the people who visit Rosemary so that there will be no problem for their plan, and the correct information of these people doesn't destroy the inception they forced Rosemary to believe. When Hutch visits Rosemary, Roman goes to the Woodhouse's apartment with his pierced ears very quickly, and even Kai come back from the movie set to control the situation. Every day Rosemary's pain increases, but she tries to bear it, to tolerate it and deal with it, because she has a reason to suffer, because she is waiting for Andy, Jenny, or Susan. She has no idea. She still doesn't know that she's carrying the devil's child. It's all her patience, all her waiting is pointless, and all her suffering for the God's beautiful creation is vain and absurd. After blinding the lead actor, it's Hutch's turn to be sent into a coma. He had doubted everything and was going to Rosemary the truth. Just before seeing Rosemary, he is sent into a coma so that the truth remains hidden once again. The scene that Rosemary exalts because her pain is over, her child starts kicking at the same time, and she tells Kai that finally it starts moving, and somehow she hugs her child, her baby, by hugging her stomach. And Kai, he's just disgusted. And to keep the role he started, he puts his hand on Rosemary's stomach for a second, because on the other hand, he knows who grows inside her. This scene is really disturbing. Trading your wife's wound and life for your own progress and fame, as I said before, shows one of the evil characteristics of humans. A trait that is covered with a mask of unreal kindness and caring. Hutch leaves a book for Rosemary, and by struggling and playing with words, Rosemary finally realizes what Hutch wanted to tell her in the meeting he couldn't attend. Rosemary finds out Roman's true identity eventually, but her biggest problem, her biggest mistake is that she doesn't know her husband's true identity. So she tells him everything. She knows a small part of the truth, that Roman is the son of Adrian Mercado. But she doesn't know that Adrian Mercado was killed not only by some ordinary people, because he was a witch, but because he summoned Satan, summoned devil, and was killed by Christians. The cats always want to control the situation by traveling in Kai, by turning out the book, but the situation only got worse. In addition to that book, Rosemary found another book and found out that they need one of the victim's accessories for the spell. And due to the loss of Hodge's gloves and the tie exchange with the lead actor, she realizes the Kai's role in the story. The doctor's secretary fortunately notices the bad smell of Tan's root of the charm and tells Rosemary that sometimes the doctor smells the same after shaving. But unfortunately, after she ran away from the doctor's office and begged Dr. Hale to see her, he handed her over to her husband and Dr. Severstein because of his self-conceit or feeling that Rosemary was crazy or delusional. The kid was born, but they say contradictory things to her about whether he's alive or dead. Based on the sounds she hears and the milk they take from her, she considers this possibility that the baby is alive. After finding the secret door, she reaches the child and sees him. Roman wants to convince her to remain the mother of the child. Rosemary is upset and shocked at first glance, but the motherly love she has for her child, even though his father is the devil, pulls her to the cradle, makes her to shake the cradle so that the child comes down. Her look tells us her decision. It's true that there is no Andy or Jenny, but it seems that Rosemary loves Adrian.